Hello. Hello, friends. Hello, Nil. Man, you always beat me to it. It's pretty amazing how quick you are, Nilf. It's awesome. So what's happening today? Well, there's a lot going on today with Ridgeland Farms, and I thought maybe a good way to raise a bit of awareness about it would be to do a live. Okay, so how do it's a little complicated today. First thing is that there's an urgent thing happening, which is that in less than 2 hours, the Dane County um, board is about to vote on a resolution regarding Ridgeland Farms. Now, any of us can attend this meeting. This is more of a symbolic resolution. That doesn't mean it's not important. What I mean by that is it's a non-binding resolution. Okay, so there are two things to do about this. What's up, Sabik? Okay, so let me put the first thing, the very easy thing that everybody can do, which is, hopefully this link works, which is to sign this petition. God, that's a long link. Let's see if it works. Okay. So that's from Rise for Animals. Anyone can sign that petition, which just adds your name. All right. Adds your name. Hang on. Let me start sharing my screen. Share screen. Okay. Dane County vote. Let's take a look. So that link will take you here to Rise for Animals. This Thursday, October 23rd, that resolution will come to a vote. So in August, we told you about Resolution 119, a proposal introduced by members of the Dane County Board of Supervisors that calls on Wisconsin's Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection to revoke Ridgeland Farms' commercial dog breeding license. So there's a few things that people can do with this. One is that they can sign this resolution, which will be presented at this meeting in less than 2 hours. That's why this is kind of urgent. The other thing is that you can attend the meeting via Zoom. And it's a little complicated. You have to register. There's two meetings happening. Okay, one is happening if you are, okay, this is Central Time, so this is Wisconsin. So if you are on Central Time, it will be 5:30. Wait, yeah, wait, yes. Sorry, it's hard with time zones. It'll be an hour and a half from now is the first one, 5:30 p.m. for the first meeting, and then the board will meet a half hour later. So if you want to attend via Zoom, and the Marty Project and Dane for Dogs would like people to attend, even if you're not from Wisconsin. And the thing to do is that you can register your support. So let me link to this. It's a little confusing. I honestly, it's not the easiest to understand, but let me link y'all to this. And this is the Marty Project's event page. And what you'll see, and I'm not going to show this because this is my personal account. Like, I don't want to show my personal account. But anyway, if y'all go in there, you will see two events on the page upcoming. And one says meeting one says meeting two. You click on each of those and you'll find instructions on how to register, as well as to register your support for the resolution and the instructions on how to do that. So that is if you plan to attend. I believe I don't really know I'm not like the organizer, obviously, of this stuff, so I don't know if it's advisable to register and not show up. So essentially, if you have a couple hours, starting at, again, 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time, basically we're talking a little over an hour from now. If you have a couple hours to sit in a Zoom meeting and just show that people are watching, that they want this to pass, um, you don't have to speak. I'm sure that the folks in Wisconsin have their supporters lined up to speak. So I kind of feel like were were we to speak, it might just kind of clog up things. I really don't know. I'd kind of rather let the main people do that speaking. So you can sign up to register your support for something, and there's instructions on what to put in. Okay, so those are the sort of two calls to action. It's really hard to explain that. So I'm going to just refer people back to the beginning of this video when people hopefully come in. But yeah, everybody, should sign, at the very least, sign the Rise for Animals thing. Okay. And then there's stuff in addition to this. So that's the really time sensitive stuff because it's happening in an hour and a half. And it would be great to show support. The other thing is that Wayne, my friend, who he hasn't really put out many calls to action in a while. So the fact that he did recently talking about these Ridgeland Beagles lets me know that it's important because we haven't really, heard much about this lately, other than what we've heard from when I'm talking about is the special prosecutor, the progress on that, which seemed really positive for a while. And I was under the impression that things were moving along well. But we're going to take a look at Wayne's blog, which paints a different picture, unfortunately. So we're going to read through this, and then there's down at the bottom of this blog, and I'll just go ahead and link to it. If y'all just want to skip ahead and bypass me, you go ahead. But there's, calls to action here on this blog. But let's take a look at it. So we'll read through it. Yeah. So, just I think it's going to be described in this, but we're talking about beagles being bred for purposes that involve scientific research or product research. Like, it's experiments that are insanely cruel. I don't feel very articulate today, so let me just let Wayne do the speaking here. I'm going to read through this. But I just want to say on a personal note, like, I am very frustrated that this has taken this long, because there were really positive signs that things were going to be happening. Okay, so we were all there. We were ready to, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so let's start reading. So one of the curious aspects of modern bureaucracy is its tendency to ignore what seem like indefensible crimes. Oh God, Wayne, you hit me with philosophers, Jesus. The philosopher Hannah Arendt called it the banality of evil. And it happens when government officials decide that ignoring abuse is simply part of the job. The former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta offered this excuse in explaining why he failed to vigorously prosecute the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. I was told to leave it alone, just part of the job. That phenomenon is unfolding right now with respect to the abuse of thousands of dogs at Ridgeland Farms, the second largest beagle breeding and experimentation facility in the nation. For the last decade, a mountain of evidence has come forward from animal advocates, former and current employees, and government inspectors that Ridgeland has committed hundreds, if not thousands, of acts of felony animal abuse, including driving beagles to psychosis in 2x4 metal cages and surgically mutilating them without anesthesia. In January, a Wisconsin judge concluded that any reasonably prudent prosecutor would file felony charges against the company, given the compelling evidence from multiple corroborating sources. But we have been waiting for more than 1 year after filing our formal petition against Ridgeland in March 2024, and the government has yet to do anything to protect the dogs. This is despite the fact that recent findings by state inspectors show that they know Ridgeland has continued to torture dogs even as it faces legal scrutiny. Internal documents obtained through open records requests show that government inspectors found in August 2025 that at least 308 additional dogs have suffered from so-called cherry eye surgery without anesthesia, a banned facial mutilation that leaves the dogs yelping, bleeding, and often permanently disabled. Beyond the allegations we presented in court, Ridgeland's actions were so blatantly unlawful that the state's Veterinary Examining Board took the rare action of suspending the license of the company's vet after it concluded that the company could not be trusted to comply with legal orders to stop performing unlawful surgeries on dogs. Yet even with all this, the government has taken no visible steps to protect the dogs. And maybe we'll watch this video in addition to this, just so that everybody has the backstory. Yeah, it is. It's extremely fucked up, Savick. Very fucked up. And what's really frustrating is just how much of a no-brainer it is. It's just one of the things that I actually almost broke down and cried when I was doing this speak out in front of the Dane County Courthouse. And the thing that got to me was that I looked at the building and I thought about, you guys sit in this privileged position. You can take action to save lives through your job, and you don't do a damn thing. And for some reason, that just chokes me up. It gets to me really badly, where it doesn't happen to me very often. It's just, I just envy that position. Like, imagine you're just going through your job and something comes along, lands on your desk, and you can fucking flip your, you can mark something down on a sheet of paper and save lives, and you don't take that opportunity. Unbelievable. So it's unconscionable what's going on. And so I will be in that meeting watching. And I'd encourage you all to also. Now, my understanding is that the Dane County Board of Supervisors is taking this seriously. That's why they have a resolution to revoke their license. But again, it's a symbolic resolution, unfortunately. It's not binding, doesn't require anything, but it's a message of intent. So it's also important. And according to the organizers of the Marty Project and Dane for Dogs, Ridgeland's fighting this pretty hard. So it must matter. Okay. What's up, Alicia? So, Alicia, I have um tried to, it's kind of confusing what's going on, but I've tried to explain it. If you go back to the beginning of the video, there's instructions on what these groups are asking folks to do. One of the easy things, though, the very easy thing is just to sign this Rise for Animals petition that's going to be presented in less than 2 hours, basically in an hour, at this point. So, yeah. So, okay, let's continue with Wayne's blog here. So, the primary reason is a man named Tim Grunke, the district attorney in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. Grunke is the prosecutor who was assigned to the Ridgeland case, and he has a good reputation. He has been named Prosecutor of the Year multiple times in Wisconsin, and he even has a picture of a Beagle on his office wall. Yet, at every step of his investigation, he has blocked efforts to protect the Ridgeland dogs. He first questioned back in January 2025 whether the government could reasonably prosecute a corporation for animal abuse. We wrote back to him explaining that this contradicts every legal authority on the question. No one, including corporations, is above the law. He then said that much of the evidence of abuse in our complaint was too old, which would present a so-called statute of limitations problem. I explained this was incorrect, as the statute of limitations clock would not begin to tick until the end of Ridgeland's continuing offense. Even Ridgeland concedes that it continues to cage and mutilate dogs. It defends itself instead by arguing it is immune to prosecution as a research lab. And most bizarrely, in the last few weeks, Grunke has claimed that the government has no authority to intervene to protect the dogs because A, the government cannot impose standard criminal conditions on a corporation, e.g. no contact with the victims of your crimes, because a corporation is not a natural person. And B, the dogs are not necessary evidence in a criminal case and thus cannot be seized via search warrant. But again, this is clearly wrong. The law, as I explained to him by email, allows the state to impose any non-monetary condition deemed reasonably necessary to protect members of the community from serious harm and does not limit this power to defendants who are natural persons. There is simply no corporate immunity of the sort that Grunke claims. Grunke never responded to my email explaining why he was wrong on corporate immunity, but we subsequently received written verification from Madison City Attorney Marcy Kurtz that the Dane County Humane officers would refrain from taking any action to protect the dogs, partly due to Grunke's opposition, and that she agreed with his stance. I was shocked. Okay. So, yeah. Let me just catch up on the chat. What's up, Jake? So, yeah, I feel like I'm shaking in anger at this whole situation. Like it takes a lot to get me fucking worked up like this. I mean, I got a fire in me. You guys know that. You all got the same fire for the animals, but this pisses me off so much. Fucking pisses me off. And I this blindsided me. I didn't realize this, and now I understand why Wayne was posting. I just thought things were moving along nicely. It was one of those like really, you know, even though the job had not yet been finished, it just seemed like things were falling into place really nicely. You know, let me take a moment to just give a huge amount of credit. I keep doing it on this channel to Fox 6 Milwaukee, Fox 6 News Milwaukee, and Brian Paulson, who is like really honed in on this story and really focused on it, which has been very refreshing to see because the media usually doesn't care about animals, sadly. Which is, yeah, it's just really hard to imagine when there are dogs involved, man's best friend. But shout out to them for doing the journalism. Non-biased. They're just reporting. But we know like the facts are on our side. So even one puppy heard and crying after her face was mutilated or driven to insanity by years in a 2x4 cage is too many, I wrote to Grunke and forwarded to Kurtz. No individual would be allowed to hold animals after such a long pattern of abuse. Let's treat corporations the same. Neither Grunke nor Kurtz replied to that email. So why do these bureaucrats continue to ignore the torture of dogs? Simply put, it's just part of the job. Government officials are not trained to take on power, but to comply with it. This is particularly true when they are, as Grunke, in positions of elected office. Yeah, elected office. The biomedical industry is one of the most powerful forces in the state. Doing the bidding of the industry is de facto part of the job. But there's an even more important way that ignoring abuse of animals has become part of the job. In my conversations with Grunke, the cruelty to animals is treated as something akin to a regulatory non-compliance, similar to checking the wrong box on a tax form. While something should be done to fix such problems, to him, it's not a big deal. Grunke has also told us that he worries about the heavy workload of the case. Fuck me. Fuck me. Given that Ridgeland has hired a high-powered law firm, and that he is aiming to reduce the amount of effort required to resolve the case. It's a bureaucrat's response to busy work. But this case is not about busy work. This case is about the Beagle who screamed in pain as employee Scott Gilbertson trembled and watched his coworker slice off a piece of the puppy's eye. This case is about the dog that employee Matt Reich saw partially dismembered in a cage with her organs falling out, leaving Matt traumatized to this day. And this case is about Julie, the blind puppy whom I witnessed spinning for hours in a cage, trying desperately to escape the metal tomb in which she had been abandoned. Guys, I met Julie a few times, I think. Julie is this sweet little pup. And to this day, she still spins. She spins and spins and spins, whether she's nervous or excited. It's a neurological thing. She has to spin in the same direction over and over again. It is the strangest thing to witness. And such a sweet puppy. Man. Yeah. So, yeah, not okay. Where were we? Her mind broke from the darkness, and even today, 8 years later, she spins endlessly in a circle, always to the right. To these poor, tortured dogs, Ridgeland's abuses were not a regulatory noncompliance. They were violent crimes. And it's time for Grunke, Kurtz, and the entire government of Wisconsin to reckon with their nightmarish experience. Ignoring animal abuse for years may have been seen as part of the job for Wisconsin bureaucrats. But if there is one thing that they should learn from the outcry over Ridgeland, it is this. When it comes to animal abuse, it is time for that job to change. Okay. And then Wayne's got these, offers. How can you help? Okay, you can contact them. I'm going to link to this again. So let me put that in there. That's something that everybody can do. So go check out the blog. By the way, there's a little thing that's like sign up. You can sign up with your email. You don't have to, though. You can skip that. The blog's free. You can look at it. Yeah. So again, sort of to recap, you can contact them. You can sign the Rise for Animals petition, which is going to be presented to the Dane County Board of Supervisors in 1 hour, I believe. Hour or an hour and a half. There's two things. There's two meetings. And then the Marty Project, I'll post this again. The Marty Project has these 2 events listed on their Facebook page. I admit it's a little confusing how to do this, but essentially all you're doing is, if you want to attend the meetings via Zoom to just watch and register your support for the resolution, you can do that. So that's happening very soon. So yeah, I share that with y'all because I know that this is a highly motivated group of people that join my live streams. I figure that at the very least, we'll get some signatures for those Beagles. So the second meeting requires it requires you to make an account, NILF, which is a little bit more of a step in the process, but it's not really that big a deal. It's pretty easy to do. You just make an account and then you're able to sign up for the next meeting. But yeah, if you guys can share this out and spread the word and let people know that it's fairly urgent. It's hard, like when there's like many calls to action, people's have very short attention spans. So keep that in mind. Some people are just going to want to sign the petition, but you can easily contact these people, and be polite, by the way, be polite. But let them know, like, this is your chance. Do something for these Beagles. I just don't get it. I don't get that mindset. I'd be like in my mundane as fuck job, like, God damn, my job. What a fucking job I got. Oh, wait, what's this? What's this? You say I can save thousands of Beagles' lives by just doing my fucking job? Yeah, maybe I'll do my fucking job. So, yeah. Pretty fucking annoying, right? Like all the fucking work that has gone in to helping these Beagles. You got people dedicating their lives to this. They're in Wisconsin, and these fucking bureaucrats standing in the way. It's fucking outrageous. So let's hope the Dane County Board of Supervisors does right by those Beagles. There's confidence, I think, that they will. They've introduced the resolution. They seem to be pretty sympathetic to the cause. As I understand it, Ridgeland's fighting it tooth and nail. But I just yeah. I mean, another thing. It's just like, why would you want that? Like torturing Beagles for your livelihood. My God. My God. It is such a dark world, isn't it, guys? What up, Chris? Yeah, this is just something very easy to do, Chris. Thank you for all you do, Chris, by the way. But yeah, like I said, we got such a good community of highly motivated activists. So again, you got all these contacts. You can boost the story. You can share it. Let people know this meeting that is being referred to, that already happened. So that's not something that was yesterday. But this stuff, you can do all that. Yeah, Wayne's made it easy too. He said, feel free to use any of these photos or videos in your post. If you're on X or Twitter, whatever, make sure you follow Wayne Shung. I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I still see his updates on like Instagram, on Facebook, all those things. I had to get off Twitter though, because no, I draw the line at Nazi salutes. That's my line. If your owner's giving Nazi salutes, that's where I think I can do without X and Twitter. in my life. And to be honest, it was one of those time suck things that, draws you into your phone. You're like, oh, what's going on in the world? Oh, all this shit that I didn't need to know about, honestly. And now being curated to me by the algorithm designed by guys giving Nazi salutes. I'll take a pass. I'll take a pass on that. But if you're if you're still on there, make sure you use it well, right? Follow Wayne, follow all these, you can still use it to your benefit, to the world's benefit, I guess. But, yeah. Yeah, cool. Maybe I'll see some of y'all in this big old Zoom call. All right. Let me lighten the mood a little bit. Let's watch some content, y'all. How about that? Should we watch some content for a little while? Let's do that. Y'all check out my interview with Trey from Animal Activism Collective. Just came out earlier today. I made a fire. Like, I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram, but I made a fire clip from that. The music, guys, I mixed the music and everything. I'm not even kidding. I brought the music up at points. I cut the music here. I put different parts of the song here. Man, I hope y'all appreciate the amount of work I put into that 1 minute thing. But that's on my Instagram. I haven't posted that on YouTube yet because I have this theory. I could be completely wrong, but I have this theory that if you post all your shit in too many places, it might hurt it because, maybe they draw from each other. I have no idea. So don't take my advice. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just have a thought that maybe they're like, wait, this is on Twitter, or TikTok already. So, we're not going to boost it. We want it to be ours, Yeah, Nilf. All on your watch, Nilf. Come on, Nilf. Yeah, you got Marshall Bioresources and Hudson Valley Foie Gras there. Nilf. Y'all, Chris is here. Chris Bryant's been doing great stuff. Really enjoying your channel, Chris. Jake is here. Y'all know Jake. Jake's doing it damn near every day, getting out there, doing the work. And yes, let me not forget to mention Project Livestream, which is happening tomorrow. And shout out to Mel and Steve for putting that on, making sure that everybody's got their subs and everything. So I know probably a lot of people, some people here are probably going to take part. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. I've told Mel, I have this one obligation already. If that one gets canceled, I'll rush out. But I probably won't be able to. Now, some of the UK people are going to be doing this in the middle of the night. I might be able to be in their live streams. So we'll see. But anyway, yes, Project Livestream is happening tomorrow. So a really easy thing to do if you're not taking part is just to kind of support them in the lives, because you get a ton of trolls when you're doing slaughterhouse vigil stuff and doing it live. People like swarm into your feeds and act like total doofuses. That's the kindest word I could use. Trying to be nice, trying to be a nice guy. I don't know why. We just read this thing from Wayne. I don't know why I should be a nice guy. But you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man. I'll be the bigger man. Wait, let's watch this. Let's get inspired again. Hang on. Let me copy that link. Okay, we'll get inspired. I know it's heavy, guys. I know it. I know it's heavy. But some of y'all might not have seen this, so might as well watch it, huh? Oh, shit. This is an hour long. Wayne, I thought this was like a shorter clip. Well, okay. I'm not going to watch the hour-long thing. Let's just watch some street activism. But anyway, here's the link for that video. You guys go watch that on your own time if you want. I thought that was going to be like a 10-minute. All right. I did see, speaking of Mel and Steve, I did see a new video from Mel and Steve. I saw Joey Carbstrong. Wait, let's start with Joey. Okay. The media report on our shocking Cathedral City investigation. Let me catch up on Joey. All right.
Cornish farm, which supplies milk to big brands, including Cathedral City, have been suspended following abuse. Milk collections from a Cornish farm, which supplies milk to big brands, including Cathedral City, have been suspended following abuse allegations. The video first emerged yesterday evening, and what we do know is that it was made by animal rights activists. They say they went undercover to 2 Cornish farms.
What did you find at these 2 Cornish farms?
Secret camera footage from both 2022 and 2025. We found workers hitting, kicking, punching animals, callous disregard for animals' welfare, forcing downer cows up through, just forceful means, kicking, using sharp goads to prod them up, improper use of a forklift to drag cows around farm, violating cows with objects in a awful manner. You can't describe the manner that they were doing this in because it would just get you censored everywhere. So what was particularly awful about this is that a lot of this was being overseen by the director of the farm, figures that kind of have a lot of responsibility at the farm, which creates a culture of abuse at the farm. Just awful scenes of callous treatment of sentient beings. That's what we found.
I'm outside David Stowe Creamery. Well, Saputo, who own it, say that we care deeply about the way the milk we source is produced and do not condone any act of animal cruelty.
Are you talking about Dane County, Sabic? If you are, yeah, the Zoom call starts in 48 minutes. And that will be the first of 2 meetings, I believe. I don't really know how it works. I don't want to pretend like I know what the hell. I'm just following what other people are posting. All right, Kane starts 2 a.m. Eastern time. Cool. And Jake's going to be at a turkey slaughterhouse at 8 a.m. Jim Lettuce doing her first live stream tomorrow. It's 2:30 a.m. MST though, so I won't be able to watch. Support if you can. But yeah, Jim's awesome. She is, Jake. Everybody is awesome that takes part in these things and even just supports them. Nilf doesn't really care about the animals, I think is what Nilf is saying. Nilf doesn't really care. No, I'm just kidding, Nilf. I'll stop messing with you, by the way. I mean, it's funny, but I think I do it to excess. Nilf's good. Okay, gotcha. No, I know it's not true, guys. It's not true. Why would you guys spread these lies about Nilf? Be nice.
They suspended the supply of milk from one of the farms. How do you feel that that's their response, that they've suspended milk supply from one of them?
Suspended is not completely stopped. And I think that if you do have zero tolerance for animal welfare violations or cruelty, they should completely disown those locations. And it doesn't matter if it was from 2022 or 2019. I think that should be like an instant, we don't work with you anymore.
The 2 farms shown in the video footage both supply milk here, and it produces big brands like
Cathedral City Cheese, Clover, big massive brands that people trust and buy, and Cathedral City have this happy cow cartoon caricature that they use. Okay, now again, should not be
look this
allowed.
up.
Whatever
It's
Saputo are
Clover.
doing right now is just to cover
Clover
their
Dairy.
image and their brand, because if they really cared about animal cruelty, they'd be leaving the secret cameras themselves and employing private investigators to go and check randomly at these places to see if they're actually doing what they say they're doing. I can guarantee you, because we only go in random times, in random years, we don't have many resources. We don't. We're very underfunded. I can guarantee it's happening systemically and across the board in a much worse way, because and the people at that farm know exactly how bad it is, because they're the ones who see it every day, and we only see it for a moment in time.
Now, Cornwall Council has also seen this video. They say that people have been to both of the two farms and that their inquiries are ongoing into this matter.
What they did, in fact, is they just they come through and do a walkthrough afterwards and say, oh, well, we didn't see anything while we were there. Well, that's because we leave hidden cameras when they think no one is watching. So if you walk through when they know you're there, of course they're not going to be hitting cows and doing all these horrible things.
Do you think there needs to be more legislation or more for the animals who are on dairy farms?
Well, I think number one thing, they should at least be enforcing the legislation that exists. The legislation that exists is not worth the paper it's written on. You're not supposed to cause unnecessary suffering to a protected animal. And obviously, dairy cows, they can be sent to a slaughterhouse, so they're not really that protected, but you're not allowed to do
let me
so.
back up a
People at that farm know exactly how to go in random times, but investigators to go and check. Okay, now this, again, should not be allowed. Whatever Saputo, Cathedral City cheese, Clover,
Here we go.
big more.
The two farms shown in the video footage both supply milk here, and it produces big brands like
Cathedral City cheese doesn't barely.
Suspended milk supply from one of them.
Suspended is not completely stopped. And I think that if you do have zero tolerance for animal welfare violations or cruelty, they should completely disown those locations. And it doesn't matter if it was from 2022 or 2019. I think that that should be like an instant, we don't work with you anymore.
the two farms shown in the video footage both supply milk here, and it produces big brands like
Cathedral City cheese, Clover, big,
What is the
massive
name
brands
again?
that people trust and buy, you know, and Cathedral City have this happy cow cartoon caricature that they use. Okay, now this, again, should not be allowed. Whatever Saputo are doing right now is just to cover their image and their brand, because if they really cared about animal cruelty, they'd be leaving the secret cameras themselves.
the way the milk we source is produced, and do not condone
Abuse at the farm, just awful scenes of callous treatment of sentient.
Sorry, I'm skipping around. I'm just trying to figure out what is the name of the big company.
beings. That's what we found.
outside David Stowe Creamery. Well, Saputo
That's full of
Saputo.
activists evening, and what we do know is that it was the video.
Milk collections from a Cornish farm which supplies milk to big brands including Cathedral City have been suspended following abuse allegations.
The video first emerged yesterday.
The reason I'm skipping around is because there's this Saputo. I was just wondering if Clover in Sonoma County is owned by them. And I don't know. I don't want to mislead. But it just sounds like what he's describing. Like, look at this. So here's Clover, Sonoma. Sonoma County, by the way, is the county where Zoe Rosenberg is on trial right now. I mean, look at this weird shit. Clo the cow first appeared as the official mascot for the Clover brand. That's creepy as fuck right there. Stornettas. It may not be though. But I mean, here's another example. You know, look at that. Look at that weird shit. Clover. Sustainable and regenerative practices. Yeah, I just don't know if this is the same company or not. But he mentioned clover. Maybe that's a different clover, though. If somebody could dig on that for me, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about UK. Yeah, I know, but like, it could still be. Are you sure it's not just worldwide? Yeah, he mentions clover. Sorry, I'm just. This can't be interesting to watch me do this. So let's go back to the vid. Sorry. I'm just curious. I feel like they'd be interested to know if that were the case. Wait, sorry. Share this.
Now, Cornwall Council has also seen this video. They say that people have been to both of the two farms and that their inquiries are ongoing into this matter.
What they did, in fact, is they just they come through and do a walkthrough afterwards and say, oh, well, we didn't see anything while we were there. Well, that's because we leave hidden cameras when they think no one is watching. So if you walk through when they know you're there, of course they're not going to be hitting cows and doing all these horrible things.
Do you think there needs to be more legislation or more for the animals who are on dairy farms?
Well, I think number one thing, they should at least be enforcing the legislation that exists. The legislation that
Just so y'all know, the sort of significance of clover dairy out in Sonoma County is such that when people were trying to, get signatures for this ballot measure to ban the worst factory farms, a very common question that people would ask is that going to affect clover? Like, they have a real soft place in their heart for this fucking cartoon cow. My God, that's a creepy as fuck cow. Was that not? I'm going to see that cow in my nightmares. Fuck Alan Wake 2, man. That's scary.
Exists is not worth the paper it's written on. You're not supposed to cause unnecessary suffering to a protected animal. And obviously, dairy cows, they can be sent to a slaughterhouse, so they're not really that protected, but you're not allowed to do certain things. But when you look across the board, they are doing those things. And the thing is, the enforcement is pathetic. We kind of expect at this point that they won't do anything about it. But they will just say we care about animal welfare very seriously, and they will use the cookie cutter response. What I believe is that at this number of animals, that the industry cannot be reformed. It cannot be reformed, not at this number. When you're doing this to animals at this scale to meet a demand, it's always going to involve abuse and cruelty. And I don't think it's possible for them to adhere to the animal welfare laws in this country whilst delivering this amount of meat, eggs, and milk to the population. I just don't think it's possible.
What impact do you want these videos to have? I suppose one for the farms in Cornwall, but also on a wider scale, what change do you want to see happen in this industry?
The number one thing that we want to get out of this is to deliver the transparency to the public that they deserve. These advertisements should be illegal. It should be illegal to lie to the consumer. Now, I have my own position on what people should consume and what they should support with their money, right? But no matter where you land on this topic, the number one thing is you deserve to know what's happening, not some filtered, curated version of a marketing advertisement. And that's what we want: transparency, truth.
You must see this abuse.
That was a very, very good answer for that interviewer, I believe.
Sadly, a lot of the time doing what you do. How do you feel when you're seeing that this is still happening?
Well, I mean, I would like to say that I was surprised, but I'm actually not. It wears on you. It just wears on you the way that they can kind of gaslight the unaware consumer about this, treat us almost like we're doing something wrong for exposing it. All the while, they're abusing the animals that they say they care for. It's really, it's frustrating and it's exhausting.
Well, it's shocking, isn't it? As you say, can't imagine what you see.
It's so far removed from what people are told, and that's the problem. Like, people get this idea about what it's like, and it's not from their own mind. It's put into their mind it's misinformation more than it's not being informed. It's like they're being informed something different.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, the NFU.
So you're saying that's not the clover. looks like you dug, Jake. That's not the clover in Sonoma County, sounds like. I don't want to get that wrong.
National Farmers Union and all of these big lobby groups, they get money from all the farmers to do their advertising and to do their bidding for them. But really, like, they're doing some horrible things and covering it up. There's a lot of scumbags involved with this, and they don't care about animals. They should just say, we don't care about them, the units of production, and just be honest about it. And, you know, that would be at least honesty. Don't pretend you're an animal sanctuary when you're doing this to animals. Like, we don't do this to care about cows. We do this because we're exploiting them and killing them for money. And you know what? The laws can't be adhered to. There's too many cows. You want cheese? This is how it has to come about. And you know, that's basically the truth of the matter. But they won't give the public the truth. I think the public do care, and that's what they're trying to manage with their marketing. People do actually, you know, like when you saw this, oh my God, that's awful. That's how most people would be, and they know that, so that's why they have to lie.
I think that's everything I wanted to ask you, but is there anything you want to add or that I've not touched on?
I'd like the general public to consider the animals who are being exploited and abused in order to deliver what is on the shelf, and not to trust those who are trying to make money off these animals, and instead, you know, listen to your interest. If you feel like something is right, that couldn't be possibly like this fairy tale that they deliver to you through the television or through the advertising in the supermarkets, then just trust your gut instinct, and you know, don't listen to those who have a vested interest in exploiting animals, and instead think about this through the eyes of those poor animals who have no voice, and you know, make choices accordingly. But number one, push for accountability. Yeah, so that was interesting, wasn't it? I think the media have been quite good, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think it's ubiquitously agreed upon across the board that this is unacceptable. The industry are just so untrustworthy, and they're using all these, like, if Mark didn't do nothing wrong, then just speak up for yourself, man. Speak up at least if you did do something wrong, apologize. I don't deserve to work with animals. I'm going to take some time away. I'm going to destroy my dairy farm. You know, I think this is awful. I can't live with myself. I've become a monster. You know, have a turnaround. And you are tormenting, abusing, you know, doing horrible shit to beings who can't even take themselves to the police station to report you. You know, they can't do anything. You murder them. They can't speak for themselves. They're just the most vulnerable, gentle, timid beings who have no way to get their story out there other than a few, like, and I'm talking, it's a few investigators in this country. If they get one more cent from selling milk, then that's it. The writing's on the wall about the entire industry. With the writing's on the wall about the NFU defending that instead of condemning it. Where's the statement of condemnation from the National Farmers Union? Where's the statement of condemnation from Dairy UK? We condemn these acts.
Nice job, Joey. My God, he's doing it. He's doing it, guys. He's doing the work. He's great. What's up, Jeffrey? Nice to see you. All right, guys. I really hate to stream at the same time that my buddies over at AAC are streaming, and they're about to be streaming. Let me pop the link on. And so I'm just gonna. I actually don't know about this documentary called Dogspiracy. Never heard of it. So anyway, yeah, AAC is about to do a live stream. I don't know if I'm going to be there because I'm going to be at that Dane County thing. I'm going to go pop on that Zoom. That's not for another 30 though. Let me put a link also to Wayne's blog once again, which has calls to action that I hope that everybody would, you know, heed, because Wayne, you know, Wayne really hasn't put many out in the last little bit. So I know this means a lot to him. And it does. It's very serious, and it means a lot to those dogs, obviously. So thank you, guys. Just wanted to pop on and give you all the heads up on some of that stuff. So hope you all have a good night. And yeah, if y'all are like late to the stream, you can scroll back to know what we were talking about. So appreciate you guys. All right. Have a good night. Later.